Hey, I'm Grant Fluff from Fletcher Sports Zone, along with Lennon, and we are back for our
Hi, my
weekly
camera
college
works
football
now.
broadcast, Campus Gridiron, Season 1, Episode 5. Oh boy, we have a lot of games to recap from last week and a lot of games to go over this week. Oh boy, we're hanging to week 8. A lot of great teams really lost last week. We'll just open it up with that. We're about to recap the games in a second, but I guess out of all the games from last week, London, which one to you stood out the most?
Um, 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 Considering all the really bad stuff we said about Arkansas, I'm gonna have to go Alabama, Arkansas with that one, just because how close it was. I think we all said Bama was gonna roll. Arkansas is a better team than their 2-5? Yeah, Arkansas is a better team than their record shows. They've lost so many close games. Bama pulled ahead early, but they came back. I was shocked, not shocked that Bama won. I was shocked it was 24-21 as the final
Right.
score. That was very fun game. That was the noon game. Watch that one. But yeah, that game very interesting. Stuck out a lot to me.
Absolutely. And as we continue to go through the list here, again, thank you all for watching here on YouTube. Please subscribe to Fletcher Sports Channel for more YouTube content and hopefully more weekly podcasts here. So let's go back to Friday. All right. It's 29-0 Colorado at halftime. I fell asleep. And the first thing I wake up to when I open up Instagram Saturday morning is Stanford wins 46-43 in double overtime. And I watched the highlights of this game, and I just got to say, how? How did this happen? How do you blow a 29-point lead at home? I don't understand how this happened. I thought, Deion Sanders was supposed to be that coach to kind of prevent things like this from happening. Oh boy, already 7 games in, and this is quite the statement loss.
Oh yeah, yeah. Again, those West Coast one. I didn't know they were playing, and I went to my local high school football game on Friday night, so I wasn't watching. I did kind of check my phone, and it was 29-0 at halftime. And like you, I said, "Oh well, that's over," because Stanford's 2-3. There's no way they. Yeah, well, I don't know what happened. Well, it was 46-43, double overtime. So, oh crap. So I don't know. It's one of the Stanford receivers. I'm not sure who.
Yeah, Alec
What 13? I think.
Anomar. Hopefully,
Yeah,
I'm pronouncing that right.
yeah,
294 yards. That was
yeah.
crazy.
Was he number 13? I think. Whatever.
Yep.
That kid was cooking Travis Hunter and that Colorado defense. It was amazing. And then that one touchdown the dude caught over the player's head. That was insane too. But any given Saturday, man, anything can happen. Then this is why I love college football because the favorites don't always win. You get upsets like that where you got a 2-3 team and a 4-2 team. So who knows? I love college football, man. It's so much fun.
Yeah, that upset was pretty crazy. Now we're going to go to an upset that, wow, it wasn't even an upset. It was the game of the year. Well, I don't know. You could say
Maybe
the
not the
Old
year,
Miss
but
win over LSU could have been better. It
I
was more
think
high
so.
scoring, but of course, now we will go over Washington's 36-33 win over Oregon. Last second field goal, shank to the right, no overtime. Huskies win. Crazy.
Yeah, they did. Going into that game was low scoring in the way I thought it would be. It was, I mean, 36-33 is a lot, but I was expecting like a 50-55, LSU Ole Miss type game. I did not watch all of that game because I watched Florida beat South Carolina, which we'll talk about in a little bit. I did. I turned it. I saw the score was 36-33 with like 20 seconds left, and Oregon was driving. So I turned the game on and watched the field goal. I was ready to go to overtime, but I guess the kicker had other plans. I think the Huskies are legit. I mean, we got to it's the Pac-12. I mean, I don't really. They're a good conference, and I think it's time to acknowledge that. As
It's
much as I
definitely
don't,
time to acknowledge that. And I think it's time for me to finally acknowledge Washington. I had Oregon winning by 3.
I picked the
Maybe
Huskies.
it would have happened if the kick was good and they went to OT, but you know, overall just such a hard fought game, between Bo Nix and Penix. They really went insane. Nix had a 337 yards. Bucky Irving had 127 rushing yards. So on the stat sheet, it looked like Oregon really dominated, but alas, they just fell short.
Yeah, no, and I don't remember the reason as to why I picked the Huskies. Oh wait, yeah, I said I know. I said Michael Penix is just a bit better than Bo Nix. I was correct. Bo played a great game. Michael Penix showed why he's the Heisman favorite right now.
I mean, it was a legacy performance. 4 touchdowns. I think it was a career high, 400 and something yards. It was a career high for him.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
but it's time to put Washington on the map and give them their dues because I'm thinking them Huskies over there in Seattle are legit.
Trying to see where they're ranked now. Personally, I think they should be
7th.
ranked 5th or 4th. They're ranked 7th.
7th. Yes, I do believe so. I think that's the latest 8 people. I can look that up.
So you're telling me they just beat the 8th team in the country and they didn't even move up a spot? No way. That can't be right.
Oh, I'm sorry. I lied. ESPN hasn't updated. Washington is 5th.
That's better. I was about to say, I'm
Sorry.
like, how do you beat a team just as good and not go up anywhere? Okay,
Yeah,
Washington ranked
ESPN didn't
5th.
update. So you
Good.
have Georgia, Michigan, Ohio State, Florida State, Washington's your top 5. Oklahoma is 6th, and Penn State's 7th. North
Of
Carolina
course,
rounds out your top
after
10.
Washington, Oregon, you had another. I guess this was the primetime game on Saturday. Too bad it was an absolute massacre. Notre Dame beats USC at home 48-20. They had a 99-yard kick return. They picked off Caleb Williams 3 times. Sam Hartman did not turn over the football. And that's a convincing win that I think we both predicted last week.
You didn't really give a prediction because you said it could go either way. And
I said it would go either way, but I had faith in Notre Dame's defense to basically do what they did to Caleb Williams, 3 picks, 1 touchdown, 199 yards. I kind of sensed that Williams was going to struggle. So
that was my reasoning also. I said the Pac-12 is notorious for not having defenses, especially USC. I said Notre Dame's defense would step up and make a play that will change the course of the game. In fact, they made more than one play to change the course of the game. But when your defense plays like that and you have an amazing quarterback, Sam Hartman was great at Wake Forest. He's great at Notre Dame. You're going to win football games. And Irish did.
Irish did indeed. And while that game was going on, we head over to the East Coast, where North Carolina, ranked 12th, defeated the Miami Hurricanes 41-31. So Miami's not going to be ranked this week. I don't even think they're going to be ranked the rest of the season, losing 2 straight games. Again, I think it comes down to if they beat Georgia Tech, they might still be ranked 25th. They came into 25th last week. I don't think we're going to see Miami be ranked the rest of the season. And that's kind of unfortunate, but that's also kind of the coaching staff's fault near the end of that Georgia Tech game. But wow, what a tremendous performance from Drake May. He was firing on all cylinders to Devontae Walker, who caught 2 touchdowns in the third quarter.
Yeah, Miami is outside the top 25. They did not make the cut. UCLA wraps up to 25. You know how I feel. I have my North Carolina jersey in the closet over there. I'm from Charlotte, but I mean, I've been a Gator always, but UNC is my second favorite team. So I love to see them doing so good and ranked in the top 10. Drake May is amazing. He is a great quarterback, and also North Carolina's defense has improved a lot from last year. And I'm gonna go ahead and say your ACC championship will be North Carolina versus Florida State, and that should be a very fun interesting week. But who knows? A lot can happen. There's a long way to go. Tez Walker is amazing. I'm so glad the NCAA revoked their stupid transfer portal thing. I don't even know what the hell they did, but they changed it, and he has been amazing his first 2 games in the North Carolina uniform.
We had a massive upset in the ACC this week. Of course, everyone was talking about the Tar Heels and the Hurricanes, but especially me, I love talking about Louisville. They came into this game against Pitt 6-0, and they got pummeled on the road 38-21. They did it without Boston College transfer Phil Jurkovic. He was not the starting quarterback this week. And Pittsburgh's defense just played lights out, and Louisville suffers their first loss. Kind of sucks for them because they were criminally underrated the entire season. They finally get the respect they deserve, up to 14th, and then Pittsburgh just slaughters them. I don't know what the heck the game plan was here, but this probably was the biggest upset of the week, I would say, on paper. So,
oh yeah, definitely. I wrote Pitt off. I said Louisville's going to win that game. So I think Plummer's out of the Heisman Trophy question after that week. That was I don't know. I didn't really watch that game.
He still threw for 350.
He did, but you don't lose. I mean, granted, it was on the road, but Pitt's like 2-5. So,
exactly.
I think what they were, the number one
Boston
in
College
5.
should be beating.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. College football is crazy. Anything can happen.
Speaking of anything that could happen, freaking Washington State getting blown out 44-6 at home to Arizona. I mean, we talked about that last week too. Arizona coming off an overtime heartbreaker to USC. You kind of sense they were going to take out their anger. I thought Washington State would win by, one possession game, and Arizona would play in tough. But I mean, that was another outright slaughter, 44-6. Washington State, I don't think is ranked this week either, and nor should they be.
Yeah, that absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Washington State fell off very hard. I don't know what happened to them. They started off so good, and I was hyping them up like we were going to get an undefeated Apple Cup, and that's not going to happen because I think Oregon is going to beat them this week again. But yeah, I don't know what happened in was it Pullman, Washington? No, wherever.
Yep.
Wherever Washington State is. I don't know what happened. They fell off.
And last but not least, the last game I want to cover from last week is Boise State. Now, this is a football program who I know has been really good the last few years, but they've still been pretty upper tier. I wouldn't say top 25 material, but they're probably somewhere in the top 50. Well, they just lost to Colorado State. So I think, that is a program that I've noticed the past couple of years has just started to go really down south. But to blow away that game and a chance to go to 4-2 on the season, losing by 1, that's a heartbreaker.
Yeah, Boise again. Boise's had a lot of Hail Marys game winners against them, a lot of them against BYU for no reason, and they let it happen again. I love the blue field. I really do. I think it's amazing. That's why I'm not a diehard fan, but I do like Boise State in the sense that they have a really awesome field. But they really haven't been consistent since they won that Fiesta Bowl in 2000, whatever. They beat Oklahoma, was it 7? Yeah, anyway, whenever they beat Oklahoma in that Fiesta Bowl, they haven't really been relevant since then, which just sucks because I like to see the blue field on Friday nights usually. But Colorado State beat them Colorado State should have beat Colorado earlier too. So I'm not surprised about how well the Rams have played pretty much. Not surprised. I am surprised they beat Boise, but I am not surprised that they beat. I don't know. Colorado State's one of those teams where if they win, you're not surprised. If they lose, you're not surprised.
Yeah, and I feel like that's kind of turning into the same way with Boise State. If they win, that's good. They're a high talented program, but their records just never really match up to par. Well, we can move on to week 8. And
I think you forgot to talk about one game.
Oh,
in Columbia, South Carolina.
Of course, take it away. What a win! By the way, Graham Mertz, SEC Player of the Week. That's what I'm talking about, baby.
Should I say? I'm gonna say it. Graham Mertz is the 3rd best quarterback in the SEC. I do not care what you say. I'll put Jaden Daniels in front of him, and I'll put who's Missouri's quarterback? What's his first name? It's Cook. What's his first name? Whatever. Drew. No.
I'll look that up.
Jaden Daniels and Missouri's quarterback. Something Cook. I know that much.
Brady Cook.
Yeah. I'll put them 2 ahead. But other than that, Graham Mertz is the 3rd best quarterback in the SEC. Even though coming into the season, they had him ranked as 13th, which is the worst quarterback in the SEC. He has played phenomenal through 7 games. There are some cons. He does hold the ball a little bit too long sometimes, and he's not very accurate on the deep ball. Now, he hit Pearsall twice. He hit Khalil Jackson twice. But he's good. But if he can work on it a little bit, he's going to be very dangerous through the air. I am at 41-39. Okay. Yeah. Well, that's, it's South Carolina. We should win by more. We were down 10 in the 4th quarter with 9 minutes left, and they didn't get scared. They didn't roll over. They fought back, came back. Pearsall game-winning touchdown with 47 seconds left. What a play. Oh, man. And then he had the tip. They ran a slant. Pearsall kind of tipped it to Wilson. That totally was planned. That's exactly what was supposed to happen. No, but it was a great play. I was on a 4th down, too, I'm pretty sure. That slant. It got tipped by Pearsall and caught by Trey Wilson for a 1st down. That was insane. This is huge. 5-2, rolling into the bye week, and the top dogs coming up in 2 weeks, which we'll get into that a little bit later on. I don't know. This is great. We needed a road win. We got one. Watched the clips from the locker room. Napier said, enjoy it. Got to be humble, though. Yeah, we can point out it's back to work. I want this to be the toughest week of practice that Florida's ever had under Billy Napier, because we know who's next.
I was about to say, they are not going to be nowhere near practicing the amount where Urban Meyer put them through.
But I want them to be damn well near close. Because there is blood in the water in Jacksonville. Georgia, again, they let Vandy put 20 on them. Brock Bowers is out for 4 to 6 weeks. That's really huge. We'll get into that. And Georgia's not the same Georgia team. I don't think Brady Carson Beck. I don't think Carson Beck is as good as Graham. I think Graham Mertz is better than Georgia's quarterback, but Georgia does have a really good defense. So we're going to our offensive line needs to play better. That's the only thing. If they play better, I think Florida does honestly have a really good chance to give Georgia their first L.
I mean, they do, because Georgia, I feel like, has been, I wouldn't say playing down the competition per se, but they've let a lot of teams stick around in games for way longer than they should have been. And they win these 3 7-point games. Case in point, the Auburn game from a couple weeks ago. If Brock Bowers doesn't make that huge 40-yard catch and run, they potentially lose that game. Gators have the weapons other teams don't. Mm-hmm. And Graham Mertz does not turn over the football a lot. So I give the turnover advantage to the Gators because, honestly, Beck throws more interceptions than Mertz. That's just a fact. So,
And Mertz's 2 interceptions were both on tipped passes that should have been caught by receivers. So again, it gets really not on him. They just got tipped in the air, and he can't really control it after that. Auburn played a perfect defensive football game against Georgia, except in the crunch time they let Brock Bowers break away. Florida not having to worry about him is huge. There's a lot of pressure off the defense. We can lock in, focus. It's a neutral site. Always is. I will be in attendance in TIA Bank Field, home of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Everbank Field, by the way. It's back to Everbank.
Same. Whatever. Jaguar
Stadium.
Hey,
naming rights changes. I don't know. Everbank Field wanted their stadium back.
Okay, fine. Everbank Field, whatever. I personally do love that stadium a lot. It's really cool stadium.
I'm the biggest Jaguar fan and I've never even been.
I'll take you. Don't worry. It's a great stadium. The environment's great. The world's largest outdoor cocktail party. That's what it's called. I'm not making that up. That's what it's called. I think Georgia will win. I think Florida will compete hard. It'll be a close game, but we'll get into that next week. I don't want to really focus on Georgia, but 5-2 going into Georgia is going to be really huge for Florida.
The game he is looking forward to talking about compared to the game I'm really excited to talk about tells you who is the bigger college football fan of the two and who's been watching it longer. We'll leave it at that for next week's episode. To be fair, I am going to a certain game next Saturday, which is really umping up my excitement, but still.
Okay, we can go to week 8.
We can go to week 8. All right. Well, obviously, thank goodness this game is at 12 o'clock. We're just going to get it over with because we know this is your game of the week. Title of the video, Buckeyes, Nittany Lions in Ohio State. Who you got?
Oh, Lord. All right. Drew Allers played amazing. Does not have an interception yet. Kyle McCord has 11 TDs to 1. Both of these teams are very evenly matched. I think it's going to be a very fun game. If this game is played in Happy Valley, I'm taking the Nittany Lions. This game's in the Horseshoe in Columbus, Ohio. The Buckeyes do not lose in the Horseshoe unless they play Michigan. I got to take the Buckeyes in a very close game. Very close, but I can't pick against the Buckeyes at home until they play the Wolverines, which they go to Michigan this year, but that's a different story. Ohio State will beat Penn State.
I'm going to go with same. I'm going to go with Buckeyes win 27-24.
Yeah, very close game.
Yeah, very close game because Penn State, they scored 60 points last week. And you want me to say, oh, that's so impressive. They beat UMass. Whenever you score 60 points, it's impressive. But, they've had a weaker schedule than Ohio State. I'll put it that way. And I think that comes down to the difference maker.
Yeah. Penn State always, they get up, they start off good and all their fans start talking, we're this, and then they fall off. This is the statement game for Penn State. You want the top opponent. If Penn
State wins, they're ranked top 3. I don't think that's a question.
Yeah, Penn State. And then Penn State still has to post Michigan, which is in Happy Valley in a couple of weeks. I'm really excited about that one. But here you go. You're here, big time on the road. I wish that game should be the night game, in my opinion, just because they're both ranked and it's a Big Ten matchup.
Yeah, I'm kind of busy this afternoon. I'm kind of sad that we're kind of getting Utah and USC over that. I mean, that's still a really good game in the 8 o'clock window, but
but
I mean, this is the best game of the week by far. It doesn't come close.
Nope. Penn State. This is their statement game. Okay, they've played West Virginia, Delaware, Illinois, Iowa, Northwestern, and UMass. Ohio State has had the toughest or a harder schedule, in my opinion. This is your statement game, Penn State. It's there. You can win. You got a great team. Prove me wrong. I want Penn State to prove me wrong. I just don't see the Buckeyes losing until they play Michigan, and I don't see Michigan losing until they play Ohio State. I think we're going to have another 2-3, the game in November, but that's in November. But yeah, here's your statement game. Go get it.
All right, shifting gears to my game of the week. 17th ranked Tennessee going down to Tuscaloosa to play the 11th ranked Alabama Crimson Tide. And Alabama's still ranked 11th. It's kind of strange considering that they haven't lost a game since when? Week 3? So
Alabama, yeah.
Yeah, so it's kind of surprising. They're still ranked relatively low, but again, maybe it's because they had a hard time putting away teams like Arkansas last week. They come in against a much tougher team. Tennessee has looked pretty solid outside the Gators contest. We've touched on that a million times this year, and I'll touch on it again. If Tennessee just stuffens up their run defense, there's a good chance they come back and win that game. So it really all depends on what type of Volunteers team we're going to get. I'm going to have to say Alabama wins by 7, but Tennessee's going to take the lead at halftime. I think Tennessee has the lead at halftime. Alabama wins by 3 or 7.
All right. Now, how do I do this without coming off as biased? Because I, honest to God, hate both of these teams. Tennessee got Alabama last year for the first time in 12 years. I do believe 16. Anyway,
that's right. Wasn't that when they charged the field?
Yeah, Tennessee stormed the field, took down the goalpost, and threw it in the Tennessee River. That game was at Neyland. Hang on, let's see. I know this game, I just don't see. Man, I'm going to do it. I got to. Hang on. Oh, sorry, wrong one.
Yeah, you're gonna get me copyrighted.
Sorry, but yeah, no. Alabama's pissed. Revenge game. Tide absolutely mopped the floor with Tennessee.
You think mop the floor? Are we thinking blowout?
Tennessee will score at least 28. But Bama will win.
I bet you think it's going to be like a 42-28 type game.
Yeah, Bama will win pretty convincingly.
You think Tennessee's ranked after this or no?
If they win, definitely. If they lose, they shouldn't be.
They shouldn't be if they lose. Well, if they lose by 1 possession, would you keep them at 25?
Yeah, but they're not going to lose by 1 possession. Tennessee's going to prove me wrong, but I picked against Bama twice this year. They proved me wrong. I picked them to win last week, and they almost proved me wrong. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I got a sweet home Alabama on that one.
Okay, I do as well. Again, I think it's going to be a much closer contest. I do think Alabama will win by 1 possession. On to our locks of the week. I think this is a no-brainer, but LSU is going to mop the floor with Army. You know how Army and Navy roll. They usually just run the football all game. They rarely pass. LSU has a great run defense. Even with their secondary a little banged up, I still expect LSU to win by at least like 30 in this one.
Do not sleep on the Black Knights in West Point. But yes, LSU will take care of business. But Army can, and I've seen them beat teams that they shouldn't beat. So, but you can't go into Death Valley. It's hard to go into Death Valley and win. I think LSU comes out with a win. I guess mine's pretty obvious too, I think. You got a certain little team in Florida who's couple years ago thought they ran the state in their no brain, no name conference, and now they're in a good conference, and now they're 3-3, and now they're going to get absolutely crushed by Oklahoma. It's going to make me happy because I cannot stand them at all. Oklahoma will take care of business against UCF.
Yeah, that hurts me to say. This is the college that Bortles went to. This is really the first college outside of Boston College I really watched, and I do have a soft spot for the UCF Knights. God, as a Gators fan, those words should not be coming out of my mouth, but it's honesty. I do have a Bortles Knights jersey, so I do on occasion root for them. But I had a sense after they lost to TCU in week 3 or week 4, I kind of knew that was their downward spiral when they were 3-0 and they lost. I kind of knew they weren't going to go anywhere, and they've just had a really tough schedule since that game. They are on the road against the Sooners. I think this is going to be an absolute bloodbath. Give me Oklahoma by maybe. I think the spread should be 21.5, and I would not be surprised if I took the over.
Yep. All right.
Not be surprised by that at all. So we go into upset, or we can do your lock.
I did my lock.
We just did. So we'll go to upsets. We'll do your upsets first.
Ooh, why me first? Okay. Okay. This see, this game is very interesting because as a Florida fan, I hope this game goes one way, but as a North Carolina fan, I hope this game goes the other way. I do not believe this is going to happen. This is more of I couldn't really think of anything, and I really want it to happen. You got 16th ranked Duke, who's 5-1, and you got 4th ranked them in Tallahassee, undefeated. I think Duke goes into Doak S. Campbell Stadium and somehow comes out with a win against them. Like 2 hours up the highway.
I don't think so.
Me either. So. But go Blue
Devils. I was looking at that game, funny enough, and I said this before when Duke played Notre Dame. This team,
they almost beat Notre Dame, and they should have beat Notre Dame.
Did, but they lost. And again, this is, I think, another winnable game that they're gonna somehow lose. I would not be surprised if Duke only loses by 1 possession. That very well could happen. But I can't willingly pick Duke knowing that in their one game against Notre Dame, they lost. That was the best opponent they played before Florida State this week. And I also think Florida State's going to win, which sucks. I don't want them to. They're going to go to 7-0, and it's going to be really annoying. But overall, I gotta go with what my brain's telling me, and that's telling me Florida State's gonna win by probably 4.5, 5. So I think that's what's gonna be the difference, whether they either win by a field goal or a touchdown. Potentially 1 possession game. Really, Duke, outside of their win against Clemson in week 1, I haven't really been wowed by what they've done. So that's me underestimating Duke, and I said it before the Notre Dame game. I know I'm underestimating Duke, but I'll still go Florida State wins.
See, those words can't leave my mouth, but I can't say the other team wins too. So the team from Durham, North Carolina, will somehow escape Tallahassee, Florida, with the win. That's how I say that without saying it.
All right, so have we mentioned before? There we go. All right, let me just quickly do my upset of the week. We'll look at some other games, and then we'll wrap it up here. My upset is Stanford beats 25th ranked UCLA. What are they going to do? Not come back against Colorado and just not build that momentum off of anything? I don't think so. I think they upset UCLA on the road. I really do. UCLA ranked 25th. They had a tough matchup last week. They lost. It was kind of a close game, but to Oregon State, but they did fall short. I think Stanford wins, gives UCLA, I believe, their 3rd loss of the year, and they're not going to be ranked for a while. Stanford's that college team this year that plays spoiler, and so I'm going to go with them winning by 3 over UCLA. No.
I mean, I get. Yeah.
I made him dumbfounded.
Oh, Bruins win. There, Bruins win.
Okay.
Maybe
Uh,
close,
it'll be
but
close.
Bruins.
I'll take
Maybe
it.
close,
All
but
right.
Bruins win.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're off to other games now. We've already done our game, lock, and upsets of the week. Public address announcement for you all. The Boston College Eagles could go over 500. They're playing Georgia Tech, ACC team, 12 o'clock on the ACC network. We could go to 4-3. I don't know how the hell this team isn't at best 2-5, but we could go to 4-3 with a win. I don't know if it's going to happen though, because Georgia Tech, I still feel, is riding pretty high after their win against Miami back in week 6. I still feel like that really gave them the confidence, the motivation to, I guess, just continue the little run they are on. Both teams come into this game at 3-3. I'm trying to see who Georgia Tech played last week, but I think overall it's going to be a tight game. I wanna be biased and say Boston College wins, but I gotta be real with myself. We are terrible on the road. I don't know what it is, but we have a really hard time. Unless if it is in Pitt, I don't know what it is. We always win games in Pitt, but outside of Pitt, I can't willingly say Boston College wins a road game in the ACC. Like, I can't say that with a straight face. Even when we play Syracuse in November, not going to say it. When we play Wake Forest, not going to say it. I'm just not going to say it because realistically, we probably lose those games on the road. So I'm going to go Georgia Tech wins 23-17. It's going to be a tight game. I think Castellanos is a really good quarterback for this Boston College offense. Coach Healy's doing a nice job developing him. We all thought Emory Moorhead was going to be the starter heading into this year, but he's done a good job. He's a great scrambler. Almost beat Florida State, which would have been by far the moment of the season if we pulled off that comeback. But I think right now they fall to 4-3 heading into their game next Saturday against UConn back at home. So we'll go with that for a little extra ACC prediction.
Yeah. I'm gonna
No
be honest.
comment.
I don't watch Georgia Tech or Boston College enough to like really get a base of what happens.
You're just agreeing with what I'm saying, and
Yeah, I guess
onwards we go.
the Yellow Jackets. I think go Jackets. And I've actually been by their campus in downtown Atlanta. It's pretty cool.
That's
But
cool.
I saw their stadium. But Atlanta's great because like you get off the exit of the highway. If you go left, it's Georgia State. If you go right, or no, if you go right, it's Georgia State. If you go left, it's Georgia Tech. So Atlanta kind of splits down. So it's cool. But yeah, go Yellow Jackets.
How about Ole Miss versus Auburn? Now, Ole Miss comes in 13th ranked, but Auburn, we saw the last time they were at home, they almost took down a ranked opponent in Georgia back at home Saturday night. What are we thinking? Is Auburn going to keep it close against the Rebels?
Auburn played Georgia, lost by 7, had a bye week, got absolutely embarrassed by LSU. I'm calling LSU hangover. I think the Rebels escape Jordan Hare with another W. So go Rebs.
No Revs. I mean, hey, maybe they could go up and up and up. I know we haven't really talked much about USC versus Utah. Utah comes into USC ranked 14th, USC 18th. Honestly, kind of surprised that they're even still ranked after how badly they got beat last week. But I guess Caleb Williams will do wonders to a football program who hasn't been relevant since Mark Sanchez was their quarterback. Anyways, who do we got?
Utah USC. I don't know. I don't. Is if Cam Rising's back, it's a different story. I don't think he is. I'm not entirely sure, so do not quote me on that. It doesn't look like he is. Okay. Yeah. USC got absolutely kind of knocked back down to earth a little bit last week. This is Caleb Williams' revenge game time. I think the Trojans.
So you're saying if you're Utah's defense run?
Yeah, pretty much. This is going to be a Caleb
the issue
Williams
is, though,
revenge
Utah's
game.
playing such better opponents, and their defense is, I think, the focal point of that team. So I don't really see them giving up a lot of points.
No, I don't think. I don't. No, I think it'll definitely be close, but I think USC bounces back. And I'm not just saying that because Utah beat us week 1. This is strictly business. I got the Trojans on that one.
All right. I think the last real noticeable game on the schedule this week is going to be Clemson versus Miami. Now, this is interesting because Miami's lost 2 in a row. The Tigers have won 2 in a row, 4 of their last 5. They still rank at 4-2, so they're not even really that bad. But is Miami that bad? They blew they blew a win. Let's just be honest, and then they lost by 10 against a team that was slightly better. Where do you put Miami in this? I think this is a good week for them to play Clemson. One team is on a 2-game winning streak, 1 to 2-game losing streak. Clemson honestly could have won 4 in a row if they didn't blow that game against Florida State. What are we thinking? Hurricanes?
Down.
Down.
Tigers. Clemson.
Really?
Tigers. I think Miami's that bad. I think Miami's
Really?
that bad. I do. I think Miami's that bad. I'm gonna break the U over the knee like that Duke player did last year. Whatever, or down, whatever. Yeah. I got Clemson in that one.
Really?
Yeah, I
Wow.
do. I think Miami's really that
I
bad.
have Miami winning a 1-possession game.
There you go. I know it's.
Okay, let's say hypothetically if Clemson wins, do we put them back in the ranked conversation?
They only have 2 losses, right?
Yep, 5. They'd be sitting at 5-2 on a 3-game winning streak, with 2 losses being against Florida State
and Duke. Ooh, 2 conference losses. That's hard to rank you if you have 2 conference losses.
That's true.
I would put them like 26, like maybe just outside of 25.
You put them just outside, and then you kind of take them on a week-for-week basis, see how they do the rest of the year.
Yeah, those 2 conference losses don't help them.
Dabo Swinney is not a coach you sleep on.
No, definitely not. But Clemson doesn't have leaders like they did with DeAndre Hopkins and Travis Etienne. I almost said Trevor Etienne. Travis Etienne. Deshaun Watson, they don't have leaders on that team. So they could. Yeah. I think they beat Miami, but I don't think they're ready to be back in the national rankings just yet.
And so, of course, we already kind of touched on it, but I know you want to wrap up the video talking about Gators, Bulldogs. I know we already kind of touched on it. I know we're going to touch on it more next week, but again, how important is the preparation? Knowing you have a bye week and knowing you just won by the skin of your teeth against an SEC opponent, what is your mindset right now if you're the Gators?
Honestly, that I would have loved to have beaten Kentucky. That would have been so sweet. Because sitting at 6-1 going into Georgia would have been a lot better, but we didn't. We bounced back. We took care of business against Vandy. And we got our stuff together and beat South Carolina. That game was really back and forth. Everybody going into that game, both sides, it's going to be a defensive football game. It was not. Back and forth shooting. Florida, no, we know who we're playing, okay? We've lost 3 in a row to Georgia, right? 21, 22, 20, no, 2 in a row because we beat, 2 in a row. We've lost 2 in a row. Or is it? Wait, fuck. Because we won 2020. We lost 21. We lost 22. Yeah, okay. We lost 2 in a row. Florida knows who they're playing. This game right now, Florida's at a 14.4% chance to win. I think Graham Mertz is slightly better than Carson Beck. I mean, they're both really even if you really look at it. They both have 12 TDs. Mertz has 2 interceptions. Beck has 4. They're all really even. I think Florida has the running back game.
Locked up with Etienne and Johnson, absolutely.
Yeah, and the rookie Webb, he's good too. Brock Bowers is hurt. He's out for 4 to 6 weeks. I'll use the metaphor again. I think Florida smells the blood in the water. It's just a matter of if our offensive line can withstand. Georgia has a defense. Okay, they have Will Muschamp, who was a former Florida coach, could not coach for nothing, but we always had a good defense under him. He's a defensive mastermind. Kirby Smart is an amazing coach. God, I can't believe I just said that. But he is. He's a great coach. He will have his team ready for the next man up mentality. If you're Georgia, Florida has to practice and train like they've never trained before. If we beat Georgia, that's huge. So we can take care of Arkansas, Missouri, LSU. Bam, you're in the SEC championship game, year 2, new coach. That's a really big if. I don't think it's going to happen because I do think we lose to Georgia. But this is the statement game. You know, we're 5-2. Nobody thought we would be 5-2. I didn't think we'd be 5-2 going into Georgia. This is your, like I said, against Penn State and Ohio State. It's your statement game. This is the statement game. You thumped Tennessee, and then you turned around and got smacked by Kentucky, and then you turned around and took care of business against Vandy and took care of South Carolina. Have to take care of Georgia. I just
to determine the fate of
the season. We have to win. We have to beat Georgia.
Right.
This is a must-win game.
The matchup against Georgia. What are we looking at time-wise? 1, 3:30, or 7?
It is always 3:30. Always has been.
Because they're in Jacksonville. That's right.
Jacksonville. 3:30 CBS. Oh, it's the last time it's on CBS too. No. Oh, I missed the SEC on CBS. It was so good. Oh, that's another thing.
Where's the SEC going next year?
ESPN, I think.
That's so boring.
I know.
What's going to happen with Brad Nestor now?
Probably. Big Ten is CBS now. So we'll get like Big Ten games.
They did a little switcheroo.
So they're switcher. Yeah. But like it's so weird. Like hearing, like, I mean, I know CBS has had that theme song for a long time. But like hearing that, I immediately think of SEC football. I don't think of Big Ten football. Like, why is Iowa and Nebraska playing on CBS? Like, it doesn't make sense.
Right. No, that makes sense.
So, but it's what it is. But yeah, 3:30 CBS. Georgia has a bye week too, so they're gonna have some time to rest and heal. If you're Georgia, it's next man up. You know, Brock, your best player, practically your whole damn offense is hurt. Step up, Florida. Yeah, it's a win. You have to win. Go out there, take care of business. Absolutely shock the world. I just don't think it's going to happen, unfortunately.
Well, obviously, if you beat Georgia, not only are you ranked, but you're probably ranked ahead of all the other teams that already have 2 losses.
Yeah, I think so too.
That puts you right back in where, like the top 20 easily.
Yeah. So, and then you got Arkansas at home. Then you're at LSU, at Missouri,
and then at LSU and Florida State. Those games could even bump you up even more.
Well, Florida State's home, which is why I think we can beat them just because it's in the swamp. That's going to be. Listen, if Florida can,
I mean, looking at the schedule, you think Florida State could go into that game still unbeaten?
Yes, I do.
Oh boy.
I do. But listen,
That's Thanksgiving weekend, right? The Saturday after?
Saturday after, yep.
So I'll be at home. We commentating that together?
I'm going to be at the game, brother. It's in the swamp.
Yeah, of course you are, because it's in Florida. I'll be broadcasting it from my basement. He'll be at the game. Okay, that works.
I mean, I could maybe sneak away from the tailgate and do like a little, like video with, or like a little pregame
Or
thing.
shoot me like a pregame, like 1 minute pregame video that you can send me so I could show you, like, oh, here's the Gators tailgate or whatever.
Yeah, I could, or I might FaceTime you from the stadium, just just like so the what. Anyway, whatever. That's
Yeah.
a
We'll come around that when
we'll come
November
around that.
comes along.
Yeah. No. But again, Florida. It starts with Georgia. This is Florida controls their own destiny. All the media can talk. We're 5-2. It's been a great season. All the players are bought in.
But the job isn't
But
done.
the job is nowhere near done. If you look at the remaining SEC schedule is very hard. Again, it starts with Georgia, and even then, I'll go back to the Florida State game. I'll hand Georgia. I'll give us that loss to Georgia. So that's 5-3. I think we beat Arkansas, we beat LSU, we beat Missouri. That's is that 8-3.
Yep.
Going into 11-0 Florida State. It's going to be a
But then the
very
question is, even if
interesting
you
game.
beat Georgia, then the next game you really got to worry about is LSU.
Oh yeah, and Missouri. Missouri's good. Missouri could take down Georgia. I wouldn't be surprised. Remember, 2-2 Missouri almost got Georgia a loss last year in Columbia, Missouri, and that's one of the things that's on. So can Georgia go in? Will Georgia go into Atlanta? Not the SEC championship game, the Georgia Tech game on the 25th. Will they go in undefeated with Florida, Missouri, Ole Miss, and Tennessee before they play Georgia Tech? What do you think? It's Florida. So Florida is neutral site. They're home versus Missouri, home versus Ole Miss, then at Rocky Top, and then at Georgia Tech.
Oof. Definitely Georgia Tech.
Oh, yeah. That's a really tough schedule for a team that's really not the same Georgia team they have been the last 2 years.
Yep.
But time will tell. One game at a time. That game's in 2 weeks. We'll talk more about it when the time comes. But if I'm Florida, ain't no days off. It's practice every single day. I know it's the bye week. You want to enjoy it. Nope. You get your.
You aren't going up against Charlotte again. You're going up against Georgia.
Yeah, no, this is. I want like Urban Meyer style training for like 2008, which was banned by the NCAA. But I want that style of training because this is honestly for the SEC East. Even though we still have to play Missouri and LSU and Arkansas. Arkansas's at home. I'm not really worried. I'm only worried about Arkansas is if we do lose to Georgia, that hangover because Arkansas is better than what their record says. That's the only thing that worries me. But again, yeah, this is it. You control your own destiny. There's blood in the water. Georgia's really not what they used. I mean, they're good. Don't get me wrong. I mean, they're 7-0, but they let Vandy. They've had one good win this year, and it was against Kentucky where they won 51-13 2 weeks ago. That's it. They struggled against. I mean, they beat UT Martin, Ball State, UAB. That's normal. But Auburn played with them. Not having Brock Bowers is huge. But it's going to be a really, really fun game.
Here's your little insight on the SEC and what we might be looking at moving forward.
Yeah, it's going to be great. But that's week 9. This is week 8. A lot of good games. Alabama, Tennessee, 3:30. That's going to be fun to watch. But I got the Tide in that one. But yeah, SEC is still the best conference in the country. I don't care anymore.
I think. Yeah, I mean, does the Big Ten kind of come close?
No. No, I say no.
I think the SEC is better. I'm just saying. I feel like the Big Ten's a little close, just a smidge bit.
If we weren't almost at an hour, I would go on a rant, but I'm not going to. I can talk to you off camera about why I think the SEC is 1,000 times better than the Big Ten, but
No, I agree. Much better competition.
mm-hmm.
But I guess we will wrap up episode 5. Glad we went almost an hour. I did not think we were going to go an hour, but I'm
Yeah.
glad we did, and it was a great episode. We'll be back next week for episode 6. We'll get to talk about Florida and Georgia all over again. Hell, maybe
Yeah.
Georgia loses.
I
And
hope so.
the Gators get that extra bit of confidence heading into their game in week 9. We'll see. But I guess we're going to have to revisit all these games and more next week. The Jaguars aren't on Thursday Night Football, so if need be, we could switch it to Thursday next week or Wednesday if Tuesday doesn't work. But again, we're going to try to aim for Tuesday. We filmed this week's episode a little bit early because we both had the time. I think next week we're probably going to go back to the 7 o'clock showing. Just want to get a video out while we had the time. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm Grant Fluff from Fletcher Sports Zone, along with London saying enjoy the rest of your evening.